Hello, today I will show you the some typical lease conditions for you to take a look. I'm Rachel. First of all, I think you need to understand most of the land is leased from the government. Only one land is freehold. This is a St. John's Cathedral, and most likely the lease will contain some restrictions, maybe some use. I will tell you some typical restrictions, and if you want to change it, normally you need to make a modification, and also maybe you need to pay the premium for this. This is some common restrictions for the common course in this. Okay, I will show you some details. The first one you will come across is they will restrict sometimes the use of the building. For example, if this is a residential use, they will restrict it. Or sometimes they may cap the maximum gross floor area. This will be shown on the terms. And sometimes they also maybe restricted the size with a maximum number or minimum numbers of the site coverage. And this is some of the high restriction. Normally they use the meters about Hong Kong principal datums. Okay, that means you can imagine if the ground level is measured by MPD, they will use these terms. And sometimes they need to submit the design disposition and height cost to your lease. That means you need to submit the shape and the color of the building before you commence the job. Sometimes they will restrict the size of the unit. For example, for this course is about restricted to the 35 meter square to 55 meter square. And you will see some course will also restrict the numbers of units. Sometimes you will also, based on the lease requirement, you need to calculate how many parking space you need to provide. Sometimes if you have a parking space, also need to consider how many loadings and unloading space should be provided, and one in and one out course. Sometimes they may require you to provide the recreational facilities for your porters, and sometimes they also may restrict it or impose on the minimum areas of the landscape. And sometimes they will say about when should be the building conveyance will be started. This is very common nowadays. They kept the concession to be 10% for residentials, and non-residential they also kept 10%. This means if you want to apply the concession, the maximum allowed is only 10% for residential and 10% for non-residential. And you will see some of the lease modifications. They are the modification letters, short-term waiver, and the license. Sometimes if you want to remove the offensive trade clause, you need to apply the license. These are some offensive trade, some things like the almond, sugar butter, something like this. And show you some of the typical calculation when you submit the general building plans to government departments for approval. You need to first to understand the plot ratio you provided, and also you need to calculate the site coverage provided, and this is make sure you not exceed the limit. Okay, and other cost is something like if you also need to check against the outline zoning plan, they also will be have some restriction with the height of our plot ratio or site coverage. And then another thing is based on the lease, what I'm saying before, you may cap the maximum height of the building and the maximum gross floor area. That means when you submit the plan, you need to ensure the lease condition is satisfied and the outline zoning plan condition is okay, and also need to pay attention of the building planning regulations. If we all satisfy, your plan can easily approve it. Okay, thank you.